Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the desert. We have all gathered here to discuss a very important topic. And greeting you is the one and only, your favorite virtual mummy on the whole internet, the patriarchal pig himself, and his demigod dog. But today, gentlemen, we'll discuss a very important topic. Men view women as castles and women view men as ladders. Now, you may think I have eaten some unconventional mushrooms to come to this conclusion, but I'll try to explain myself in the best way possible so you get my point. So let's start with men first, because we'll finish quicker, pun intended. Men view women as castles. We want to conquer them, impress them in a highly competitive battlefield. Some men conquer castles with attractiveness, others focus on humor, others on achievement. It's a mix, really. There is no one size fits all, but you have to be witty, right? You have to stand out. Now, no man wants to conquer a castle every day. That is something very important to keep in mind when we think of men. You go through all that effort to conquer a castle. You don't want to do it all over again. You don't want to be having to conquer a castle each day to get the benefits of that castle, right? Now, don't get me wrong, you have to maintain the castle, you have to clean it, keep it tidy, not just conquer it once and then lay on your back, farting all day, not doing anything, while the walls crumble. You know, you have to upkeep the castle, but not conquer it. There is a difference there, you know, and this is a criticism that I have for men. Most women will share this experience where they feel like the relationship is growing stale. They feel like it's all getting a bit too stagnant, you know. Oh, my man is not putting in the effort that he did in the past. He impressed me in the beginning, now he appears to no longer care. So there's a criticism for men. You have to keep doing little details, gifting your wife or girlfriend flowers, you know, keeping the magic there. But again, you don't want to be conquering the castle each day, right? And this is a criticism towards women. And it is that the honeymoon can't last for the whole relationship, all right? Because even if it did, well, then the honeymoon wouldn't be so special, right? It will just be like any other ordinary day. There are times in the relationship, there are times to be romantic, there are times to, you know, just chill. The relationship is still okay, even if you don't show attention and details each single day, you know, and it's humanly impossible to always show your A game as a man. It's impossible to be always impressing a woman. You know, you go to work, you have an interview, and you show your A game for that interview. You don't show your A game every single day you go to work. It's impossible on a mental level, on a physical level, to be capable of showing that much attention and devoting that much energy to something, you know. And it's the same with friends. You meet a friend for the first time. Well, he's not your friend at that point. But, you know, you try to show the best side of you. You don't tell him about all your weird quirks or, you know, characteristic traits. You just try to be polite. You try to show the best of you. And then with time, you get comfortable enough to be farting in front of him because he's your best friend and you no longer care. That is absolutely not. All right? But that's about men. Men, we are simple creatures. We view women as castles. We want to conquer them, impress them. You know, this is where the trope in history writing, the most common trope, the one that's most used in media, the saving the princess trope, all right? That is what we want. That is what we strive towards. We are the special one. You know, you are the only one who can save the princess, and you have to fight the dragon, and you have to overcome difficulties in order to save the princess. And once you do, that's it. They lived happily ever after. You have a reward. You must achieve it. You must go through struggle to achieve it. But once you do, you reap the rewards of your labor, right? Now, let's move on to women, guys. That was it for men. Again, we are simple creatures. But now let's move to women because they are more complex, right? Women view men as ladders. And in order to get this point home, we'll talk about 3 romantic movies or stories. The first one being Titanic. I think this is the most famous romantic story. We'll also talk about Beauty and the Beast, and we'll also talk about a romantic movie called Me Before You, which happens to be the only romantic movie I've ever seen, all right? So, I mean, you can include Titanic, but We'll talk about those three. I've also watched The Notebook, but The Notebook is such a good movie that no criticism towards it, alright? But we'll use those three to try and understand how women view men and how they view relationships. Now, a trope that remains consistent in all story writing targeted at women is a progressive improvement of a woman who either finds a good man in order to break free from the chains of the oppressive patriarchy, or to just improve her current situation. So again, you see the difference there. For men, it's not about improvement, but a goal, a one-time achievement, a finish line. And there you have the trope of saving the princess. Now, there is improvement towards reaching that goal, but it's a one-time thing. There is a finish line. And once men achieve their goal, that's it. For women, however, they are never satisfied. Am I right, gentlemen? With the achievement, and they want more, which is why the story always ends in either death or is finished without the prolonging of events. And we'll go to that a bit later. A man cannot possibly keep satisfying a woman's desire for change, because there is only so much to figure out and to change about him. So the female fantasy is not about conquering a man and living happily ever after, but rather about switching men, upgrading them, and then moving on to the next challenge. Now, this behavior, I hear you say, is predatory, is selfish, is parasitic even, which is why the male that gets left behind in those stories always has to be villainized to an absurd extent, or otherwise you will sympathize with him and not with the woman. So let's take a look at, for example, Cal from the Titanic, right? Now, in the story, he's portrayed as being the evil boyfriend that has to be left behind in order for Rose to find something better. But Cal wasn't a bad man overall. Yes, he was entitled, arrogant, and superficial. But come on now. He's a first-tier, wealthy, elitist motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? How many humble and down-to-earth multi-billionaires have you seen throughout your life? He's just your average, entitled, bratty, ungrateful rich bastard, just like any other. I mean, hell guys, you watching this right now, and me, we would both seem like entitled rich bastards to a poor person from a third world country if he sees how we behave and how we complain about little first world country inconveniences. There was nothing evil about Cal, he was just a product of the wealthy mindset around that time. And he did love Rose, in his own way, to the best of his capabilities. He cared about her, he treated her well, he gifted her a gajillion-dollar necklace as a reflection of his love for her. Even after the Titanic sank, he went out there looking for her. He really did love her, again, in his own way. And hell guys, it's not like Jack, the man who Rose cheated on his fiancée with, had any sort of moral high ground over Cole. He was a drunken son of a bitch who won the tickets to the boat by gambling in a dirty tavern. He was a bastard homeless junkie who was looking to have fun and, if possible, smash some elitist coochie, you know? So, because the authors know that, story-wise, Rose is a bitch for cheating on her loving fiancé with a homeless jerk, they have to villainize the ex-boyfriend Cal to an absurd extent by, for example, making him steal a baby, then lie about being his father to cheat his way onto a lifeboat. You see how absurd it is? They go way overboard, pun intended. And what has Jack done for Rose anyway, outside of clapping her cheeks and probably stealing some jewelry while she wasn't looking? Oh, he danced with her. Oh, wow. Well, okay then, guys, never mind. He danced with her and made her feel happy for a while, which I guess now validates her cheating on her fiancé. He danced with her, he held her hands for a while, he drawed her like one of his French girls for a while, and he clapped her cheeks in the back of a car. That's it. Oh, and he supposedly, right, sacrificed himself for her, which is something that Carl would have probably done as well. But of course, we don't show that part of the story because it will break the narrative. Carl has to be irredeemably evil like Satan himself, not shown with any singular positive trait while possessing many, while Jack has to be shown as the Christ-like figure who sacrifices his own life for her, even though he is just a homeless, gambling addict hedonist whose personality doesn't hint at the idea that he will do such a selfless act for a woman he knows from 2 days in any way, shape, or form, but alright. They just have to go to the furthest of the extremes to sell such a story, because when you boil it down, Rose is just a treacherous, cheating, ungrateful bitch. She backstabbed her boyfriend and serious relationship to have a one-night stand with a homeless junkie because he made her feel things and took her out of her boring, mundane life. It's true what they say, guys. A woman will cheat with a man who fixed her car, forgetting about the man that bought her the car. The narrative has to delete, notice this, both the past and the future in order to somewhat be coherent. They have to delete all the good moments Rose had with Carl, how they have also danced and held hands and been romantic, because that will make Carl human instead of an endless pit of unmeasurable evil, and thus you will sympathize with him getting backstabbed. They also have to delete the future, because Jack wouldn't be able to spend the time of day to be eternally dancing and holding hands and drawing Rose naked while he has to work the 9 to 5. He wouldn't be able to sacrifice his life in a romantic way every single day, thus that will bring Rose back to the very monotone and mundane life that she is currently fleeing from. So, if you take that story, the Titanic story, and you don't kill Jack, let's say fast forward 10 years, you will end up in a family where Jack works the 9 to 5 and they are both tired and nothing is as romantic as that one time they were on a ship, you know. And the truth is, guys, Rose will have just grown bored from that relationship and will have dismissed Jack with another man, her next ladder. You see where I'm taking this? And if you still don't get it, if you still don't believe me, let's switch the genders so you understand why what Rose did is objectively wrong. Imagine a good but flawed woman who values, respects, and loves her fiancé, but has fallen into the monotony of life. She has maybe gained a couple of pounds and a few wrinkles have appeared on her face. Her boyfriend is overall content with the relationship, but he feels a little bit bored. He wishes that he could feel the same spark and vibrating energy that he felt when they first met, when she was younger and more attractive, and her breasts were firmer and her butt was tighter. He has grown bored of working and going back home and having responsibilities and having duties that he must fulfill towards his girlfriend. And at that time, this man meets a young 20-year-old beautiful woman who is cheerful, not like his often tired girlfriend, and she is caring and attentive, unlike his often busy girlfriend, who sometimes doesn't even have time to revive the bedroom spark. And her butt is tight and her breasts are firm, and she doesn't expect out of him to perform any duties. She doesn't burden him with responsibilities at all. So he cheats on his fiancée with this new upgraded version of her. Do you see the problem with this narrative now? It's evil and immoral. Everybody will hate such a movie. Everybody will criticize it wholeheartedly if it's a man cheating. But somehow women get a free pass on cheating because feelings or something. Oh, but Jack made her feel special. So again, in order to be somewhat cohesive, they have to villainize the ex-boyfriend to a ridiculous extent. And the story still doesn't make sense if you stop to think about it for 5 minutes. But before we move on to the next boyfriend that we're going to villainize, Gaston, let me defend Rose on one thing. I do get that she is unhappy in her relationship. After all, if you don't feel good being in a relationship with an entitled jerk, shouldn't you cut your losses and chase your ideal of meeting a more organic, down-to-earth person? Yes, absolutely. But here lies the problem. Rose wasn't forced into this relationship. It's not like she has upheld those values and principles of having an organic relationship down to earth throughout her life. No. She shares the same entitled, arrogant, superficial, elitist mindset that her villainized boyfriend does. At best, Rose is equally as bad as Cole. But he done, I hear you say, even if she is. Now she wants to change and find a more pure and down-to-earth relationship. Okay, you don't do that by cheating though. If Cole came to the same conclusion and wanted to exchange Rose for a more pure, organic woman by cheating, everybody will criticize that. But again, because she is a woman, she gets a free pass on being a disgusting, immoral human individual, right? So you see how for Rose, Cal was a ladder. Now, at the time that they met, we don't know about this, but he probably was the best elitist around, you know. Probably at that time when they met, he was the most attractive or the most humoristic, or he made feel Rose in a special way. But now she has climbed that ladder, and she no longer wants an entitled, arrogant brat, even though she herself is an entitled, arrogant brat. But now she wants a more pure, an organic relationship. So she dismisses the old ladder, Cal, and she moves on to her next ladder, which is Jack. Now she wants a pure, organic relationship that is very romantic and all that. And if they didn't kill Jack, the story will have continued with him working in a coal mine or in maybe some industry 12 hours, returning home tired, not having time to draw her every single day, and she will have cheated on him as well with her next ladder. And you can see that reflected at the end of the story when she has been married, which is her current ladder. You know, she decided to settle down and found a man with whom she had children. And now she is in her 80s or 90s, and with her passing breath, gentlemen, instead of thinking about her husband, you know, the man who has supported her for decades, the man who she has children with, instead of that, she's thinking about that one-night stand she had 60 years ago. It's disgusting. It's really disgusting. Can you picture yourself being with your wife in her deathbed, and you can read her mind, and she's thinking about some guy who clapped her cheek 60 years ago, who did nothing for her at all. Meanwhile, you have been grinding your behind to provide for this woman, to make her feel loved, to make the relationship work. You have done all of that, and she's thinking about some other man. It really is disgusting. But now, let's talk about Gaston, the evil patriarchal man from The Beauty and the Beast. Again, a good man, tall, attractive, strong and brave. I mean, literally every woman in the village was falling head over heels for him. And every other man liked and respected him, even followed his lead. Now yes, ideology-wise, he may have been patriarchal, maybe a bit misogynistic, a little rude, old-fashioned, but we are talking about a village in 19th century France, right? That doesn't make him any more different than literally every other man in the country at the time. He is arrogant, but again, he is the strongest, tallest, most attractive, bravest Alpha Sigma Chad Chaddington in the entire region. Same as with Cal, the flaws of Gaston are a byproduct of his surroundings and don't make him inherently bad. So in order to villainize him, Disney makes him say stupid things, put his dirty boots on the dinner table, treat his better simp friend in a bad manner, as if he were a bully, because you have to hate the guy. They make him to be a complete donkey, because otherwise you will sympathize with the man who risked his own life to save Belle. The Beast, on the other hand, he kidnapped Belle's father, then he bribed Belle, forcing her to stay in his castle as the only condition to set her father free from his cold, dirty cell, then again, only to lock her in a cell and treat her like a medieval slave. And she falls in love with this uncaring beast who kidnapped her father and is now keeping her behind bars. Women and bad boys, am I right, fellas? So Bella develops this weird Stockholm syndrome and falls in love with this humanoid bison who is keeping the whole castle hostage to unleash his barely contained wrath and bad mannerisms over them. Oh, and also, he is extremely patriarchal because he has the whole castle working just for him and cooking and cleaning and serving him. And you thought Gaston was patriarchal. Also, wasn't the whole reason that the beast is a beast because a witch cursed him after he didn't give her shelter on a cold, stormy winter night? So you have this 19-year-old elderly, weak woman who goes to seek shelter and some warmth to literally not die like a dog on the snow, and this entitled, bratty, spoiled, ungrateful asshole of a prince tells her, "Ew, you're so ugly, get away from here." Are you ladies reconsidering Gaston already? So you see, the Beast is a positive character, even though he will allow an elderly woman to pass away in the cold winter just right outside his castle, and then he probably would have sent some servant to clean up her remains. But Gaston is a bad character because he wears boots inside the house, or because he eats too many eggs or something. I mean, dude is bulking up, of course he's going to eat eggs. Let the man eat his eggs, you know what I'm saying? But all this to say, it's all about narrative. There is no clear moral distinction between Carl and Jacques, or between Gaston and Beast. It's just who the woman decides to fancy. It's just who she views as a ladder that will help her achieve her wet dreams of changing a man for the better and then moving on to the next best thing. So going back to the story, Belle says, "Dad, I can change him," and then proceeds to turn Beast into a prince, and Gaston is sentenced to a painful and terrifying death because of his inhumane crime to decide to save the woman he loves from what he knows is a kidnapping, merciless beast, and they lived happily ever after. So there you have it again. They either have to unalive Beast or end the story, because if you fast forward 10 years, Belle will have already dismissed the Beast and moved on to her next ladder. But it's a Disney movie, so they're not gonna kill him, they just end on, and they lived happily ever after. Not mentioning the divorce that Belle initiated 4 years later because the spark was gone, and how she went and shook up with the neighbor next door, right? Something that you'll notice with these stories as well is that women always like the bad boys, right? Rose liked Jacques because he was reckless. When you boil it down, he was just a homeless dude with no plans for the future. But at that current moment, she liked the emotions, the spark, which is why she went for a reckless guy she didn't even knew. For all she knew, Jack could have been a convict that is fleeing the country, you know? But she doesn't care. The Beast, unmannered, letting elderly women pass away outside his castle, keeping all the servants hostage, being extremely patriarchal. But women like bad boys, they like the change. But we'll discuss that later, guys. Let's move on to the final movie we are going to analyze to try and understand why women view men as ladders and what women's fantasy is. We have explained that the male fantasy is to save a woman from a castle, from a dragon, conquer her, you know. It all comes from a place of novelty, a place of bravery. It's all about being the good guy who upholds the standards and conquers the dragon and defeats evil. So let's continue with women's fantasy, which is to change a bad boy into a good boy and then dismiss him to go on to the next bad boy. Let's talk about the movie Me Before You, and then we'll draw a conclusion on these three stories and analyze what is the common denominator. So again, as mentioned, Me Before You is one of the few movies I have watched that are romantic, and you may be asking, Hidan, why have you watched that movie? Are you growing soft on us, boy? No, guys, I watched it because an ex-girlfriend of mine really wanted to. The things I do for love, am I right? So, the plot of this movie is a whimsical Emilia Clarke, and that's not the name of the character, that is the name of the actress, the mother of dragons from the Game of Thrones. She is the actress, so I'm going to refer to her character as Emilia Clarke. The story is about her being whimsical and dumping her boyfriend's ass to move on to the next best thing, which happens to be a dark and mysterious multi-millionaire. And when I say, for no apparent reason, I mean it. I even went to Google searching for an answer as to why she left him, and this is all I could find, alright? I read, Patrick, the boyfriend who got dismissed, has seemingly lashed out due to his jealousy over Emilia. He gave up their relationship because of his obsession with physical fitness, but he was not even successful at those pursuits. So now you may be asking, but Hidan, didn't you say that Emilia dismissed her boyfriend and not the other way around? But here it says that he gave up their relationship. Well, no, guys. No. He didn't give up on their relationship. She was the one that ended the relationship. But as women often do, they like to not be accountable and switch the blame to someone else. So even though she was the one that dumped his ass, oh no, you see, she was forced into it. She had no other option because he gave up on the relationship. By what? By, quote-unquote, his obsession with physical fitness. Now, when I was watching this movie, guys, this is all the movie came up with, all right? They're not even trying to give him the Carl treatment by having him steal some orphan children to try and bribe an officer with them. They don't even make the effort to villainize him. All you can find in the story is they're going out to run, Patrick and Emilia. They're going to have a run, and he's telling a story about a marathon that he's going to do. So he's not a professional athlete, but he wants to take running to a professional level. You know, he wants to strive to be the best, go to marathons and all that. So he's very into running. She's not into running. You can see she couldn't care less about this guy running. And he's telling her about some marathon, and he asks her, are you going to come with me to the marathon? And she says, no, why are you asking? You know that I hate to run. You know that I hate this. Why are you asking? And then she asks him about some of her plans, if he is going to attend them. And he says something along the lines of, oh, what plans again? I had forgotten about that. To which she makes like a sad face. Oh, you don't care about me. You have forgotten about my plans. And right after, she breaks the relationship. That's it, guys. That's it. It's all there is to it. He doesn't beat her. He doesn't cheat her. He doesn't treat her in any bad manner whatsoever. No, the story, you watching the movie, you should say, oh, he prefers running over her? Well, she should absolutely dump his ass and move on to the next thing. I also love the last part that's written on Google. He wasn't even successful at it, you know? It is like a low punch. Oh, so you prefer fitness over your women, but you're not even that successful at it, you know? Now again, gentlemen, if you don't get the point, let's imagine the reverse scenario. Imagine that a woman who is part of a 7-year relationship, because that's how long Emilia and Patrick had been together before she dismissed him and threw him out like a puppy on the rain. Imagine a woman that is part of a 7-year relationship. She decides to chase her dreams and long aspirations of opening up a cafe. And she starts pouring hours of her day into her new business, into construction, into planning, into hiring and decorations and internal procedures and all that. And because she spends so many hours a day pursuing her dream, she comes back home tired and exhausted. She has less time to invest into her boyfriend. Sex starts to happen less and less often. She even forgets about a few things due to how busy she is. And the man dumps her ass and goes on to have sex with a woman who devotes her whole day to him. And then the cherry on top of the cake, he says, well, you weren't even that successful with the cafe. There you have it. That is the equivalent. Now, of course, presented with this scenario, all the female viewers of this movie who found it extremely romantic would lash out in anger. Oh, wow, how inconsiderate of him. He is a selfish prick. If he really loved her, he should have supported her in chasing her dreams. Men only want us for sex, and the moment we don't provide, they cheat. Well, those are the reasons why Emilia left. She was inconsiderate, selfish, bratty and spoiled. If she really loved Patrick, she wouldn't have left, due to such a small inconvenience, but would have rather supported him in achieving his dream. And she only ever wanted him because of the convenience that he provided to her life. The moment he stopped providing, the moment she felt as though he is starting to be an inconvenience, she moved on to the next thing. She's not yours. It's just your turn, guys. And I remember watching this with my girlfriend. And at that point of the movie, I asked her, wait a minute, why did she leave him? Like, what did this guy do? And she said, well, don't you see? He clearly doesn't care about her. He's being dismissive of her. And I said, no, wait a minute. Forgetting about a certain detail, forgetting about the plans that she had, doesn't mean that he's being dismissive. Alright? In fact, in the movie on her birthday, her boyfriend goes and gives her flowers, and he had bought a cake and so many other things that he did for her. So it's not like the man was unattentive or didn't care. But my girlfriend at the time was trying to validate that disgusting, irrational behavior. It was a red flag. I should have paid more attention. And yes, she did end up leaving me for no apparent reason at all, just like in the movie, even though I was bending over backwards to make her feel loved and appreciated. You see why men are just opting out of marriage and out of dating altogether? You put all this effort into a relationship only to realize years later that she never loved you for who you are. She just loves the things that you provide. And the moment she doesn't find value in those things anymore, she's going to dump you in a matter of days and move along as if nothing happened. You are just a ladder for her. You are a stepping stone, a means to an end. She doesn't need you any longer, thus she will throw you out like a dirty socket with a hole in it. It's at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I have to ask, do you want a friend like this? Like Emilia Clarke in this movie? Do you want to have a friend with the personality traits that she possesses, who will backstab you, who will step on your head only to reach her goals? Would you feel safe and loved and at ease knowing that you have such a friend? I'm guessing not. And we're talking only about a friend, let alone wanting to bet 50% of your assets and your children on such a person, to have her as a life companion. But going back to the story. So she becomes the caretaker of a multi-millionaire attractive char who used to live this extreme life of being athletic and doing wild stuff, but is now in a wheelchair because he is crippled. And he is all dark and pessimistic and a bad boy, and he speaks rough to her and is mean and doesn't care about anything or anyone. Again, you may notice some of the themes of the beast here. Women always like bad boys. If you're a good boy, they won't be interested in you. They want you to be bad, change you, and after they change you, they dismiss you. And so she turns his life around by providing him with a love which makes him happy and bubbly, and then he commits assisted unaliving because he doesn't want to be crippled for life, and leaves her with a couple of $1 billion to pursue her dreams and a thank you note. End of story. That is it, guys. That's what women find the best romantic story ever written, all right? It's again, these romantic stories are always based on two premises. First, finding the bad boy that they have to change. And second, after they have used him, after they have gotten what they need out of him, they move on to the next best thing. You know, that's all the romantic movies. And I'm gonna leave a video linked down below of a woman expressing this idea. It's a very, very good video. If you are interested in this topic and in trying to understand why this is the female fantasy, you may be asking questions like, why don't they simply go for a good man instead of for a bad man? Why, when they achieve their initial goal, which is to turn a bad boy into a good boy, why don't they just simply live happy and that's it? If you want answers to all these questions, guys, find the video linked down below. But now, let's move on. Let's continue with our story. So, the attractive rich char was yet another ladder. Because I'm telling you guys, they always finish the story either with death or with an unfinished set of events. Because if this char had continued with his life, she will reach the end of the ladder. And then what? Then she will be forced to dump him and cheat on him to find a new ladder that takes her somewhere else. But that wouldn't be so romantic, wouldn't it? So the guy commits self-unaliving and gives her a bunch of millions of dollars. Now, if for some reason you still don't believe me on how women's wet dreams are to use men in a parasitic way, let's analyze the sequel to this movie, which I found existed today. I'm reading, guys. This is the synopsis of the movie, of the sequel. At the same time, this is when Emilia, she has already dumped Patrick. Her next boyfriend, the char, has already unalived himself, giving her millions of dollars, and now she has moved to London. At the same time, Emilia grows close to Sam, the uncle of a member from her support group, and one of the paramedics responsible for saving her life after her accident. As their relationship deepens, Emilia faces a difficult choice when her friend Nathan offers her a job in the United States. Despite her feelings for Sam, Emilia takes the interview and is accepted for the role, reflecting her ongoing struggle between personal contentment and professional growth. So she dumps his ass as well, right? That's the end of the story. He was yet another ladder. So this is women. So guys, This woman used like a parasite her first boyfriend for convenience. This is Patrick. And Patrick used to give her gifts and spend time together and make her feel loved and validated, but she switched him off for a millionaire who gave her a couple of $1,000,000, and then her third boyfriend saved her life, and after that latter she went on to pursue her career in another city. It's never enough, gentlemen, for women. Nothing is enough. Your attention isn't enough to keep her. Your love isn't enough to keep her. $1,000,000 aren't enough to keep her. You can save her life like Sam did, and that is not enough to keep her. The only thing that makes women stay is women wanting to stay. There is nothing in your power that you can do to make a woman stay. Now, with men, it's different. Men have a certain princess in their mind. They conquer that castle. When they conquer that princess, they are content. They just want to live with her. They just want to live in that castle and reap the rewards of their efforts. But with women, it's never like that. Nothing can satisfy them. Nothing, guys. It's impossible. The only thing that can make them stay is if they want to stay. And if they don't want to, there's nothing you can do. So this is the female wet dream. To be using men for their resources all throughout their lives. Dump them and move on to something more exciting in a matter of days when things become stale. And find some sort of wicked, psychopathic personal fulfillment in quote-unquote changing those men for the better and blessing them mortals with her godly love. I will give you one last example because I really want to bring this point home. Imagine a man and a woman who have been married for 10 years and have children together. They have spent awesome times, they have built trust, their companionship is a blessing to their children, they have spent endless romantic nights and exchanged hundreds of heartfelt gifts expressing their unconditional love for each other. But with years, the woman has started to lose her beauty, her tits are saggier, her face and body have wrinkles because of age and because of birthing children. She isn't as enthusiastic and full of energy as she was when she was 20, because now she is burdened by life and its challenges. Sex doesn't happen as often as it did before. Kissing her lips doesn't feel as magical as when you both were 18. She has her flaws. Sometimes she is overly emotional, sometimes she is weak and relies on the man. Sometimes she is short-tempered, not like the seemingly perfect 18-year-old version of her. And while this man, from our example, is cleaning the toilet because he is helping her do her chores around the house, he thinks to himself, you know what, I don't feel happy. The spark is gone, things are not as enthusiastic and interesting and magical as they were before. I'm going to cheat on my wife with my hot 18-year-old sexy secretary at work. She is hot, she has a tight ass, she brings me coffee, she doesn't have wrinkles on her legs, she doesn't expect anything out of me, nor does she burden me. Yeah, I'm going to cheat on my wife, dump my children, and I'm going to move away with my sexy 18-year-old secretary. It's disgusting, it's abominable behavior. But when women do it, it's alright. When men cheat, they are selfish pigs incapable of loving, but when women cheat, oh, she was forced into it. He had to pay her more attention. She had to find love elsewhere. All she wanted was to feel loved. All these romantic movies, what they are essentially, gentlemen, is a cheating fantasy. Rose dismissed her good enough relationship with Cal simply because it was time to move on. The magic was gone. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything to deserve his bitch of a girlfriend to cheat on his fiancé with some homeless junkie. But she did, because feelings, that's it. It's validated, guys. Then the beauty prefers a patriarchal beast over literally the most attractive man in town. Then Emilia dumps Patrick's ass. He didn't do anything wrong outside of forgetting some detail about her uninteresting plans, even though she didn't care about his goals of running as well. But no, he is the villain. So he had to be more interesting. And he had to be maybe a multimillionaire with dark personality as well. They never love you, my dear male viewer. You are a mere host for them. Now, we don't like to feel that way. We want to conquer the castle and live in its glory. We don't want to find out that the castle is actually a death trap, but it is. That is what most women are. You spend so much time conquering them, so much effort and sweat, and then you keep the castle clean and tidy and you better it through your love and hard work, only to find out after years that the castle was a death trap that is gonna turn on you. It actually terrifies me, guys, that women can be so cruel and so cold, that they can shatter a heart without feeling any regret at all, that they will let go of their life partner, of everything built throughout the years, of all the promises, even of their own children, in their selfish pursuit of what they call happiness. It's parasitic behavior. It's by definition psychopathic. And you will say, Hiran, why are you taking as an example Rose? She's just a fictional character. Guys, the reason why all these movies are so famous is because all women, at a deep level, it's in their core, it's in their wiring, they agree with that. They validate a woman cheating because she needs to find better. They don't feel that they are compromised, that there's some compromise in any way. They don't feel like they have to stick to their vows. No. The moment they can get something better, they will. And they don't feel any sort of guilt over it. This is why you have women initiating 70% of the divorces. You know, women are the ones who break relationships most often. Women are the ones who move on faster from relationships. We call this monkey branching in the business. It's a woman, you know, just like a monkey would, jumping through the branches. It's a woman jumping through men. She's with one when he's convenient. When he's inconvenient, they move on to another. When they find something better, they move on to another. When their life changes and they need something else, they move on to another, all their lives. You know? All women are like this, guys. All women have this inherent desire to keep upgrading men. There is no finish line for these women. It's just an endless pursuit of the next best thing. But should we end on this dark note? No, I won't, because not all women are like this. I know that I just said that all women are like this like 10 seconds later, but let me explain that. All women have this desire, but not all women allow themselves to partake in that behavior, all right? I think there's a natural explanation for why it is a female wet dream to keep upgrading her men, and it is that nature has granted women with this tool as a way to, first off, ensure that the man that they get with is an alpha and is the best for them, and second off, to ensure that the man won't leave them behind. This is why men feel way more stable and secure in the relationship. They feel more comfortable, while women constantly feel like they have to keep improving the relationship, or they are afraid of it becoming stale. They are more emotional and may get more easily anxious, because it is a tool to ensure that the man will keep showing her affection and attention, that he still loves her. This is, by the way, why women will ask you if you will love them if they wear an HDMI cable. They want to keep men at check, keep them honest. They fear being abandoned. And that's a good thing. It's a good tool. I may not relate to this behavior, but I do love that women are different, and I think a better relationship takes place without differences. It is bad, though, when they take it to the extreme, when instead of using that energy to better their current relationship, they use it to fulfill their hedonistic selfish desires and to keep switching men as if they were objects that are there merely to fulfill a specific task and then be disregarded. So it's good to take these narrative tropes, try and understand better why women are inherently like this, but don't apply this to every woman. Most women today in the West are like this. This is why women dump their loving boyfriends en masse. This is why you hear men often saying that it was a blind side to them, that they don't know where their relationship is over, that they were surprised by it. This is why women initiate 70% of the divorces. But these romantic movies, again, guys, are just a feminist wet dream. They are not representative of a real woman. A real woman will put her family above her. She will sacrifice herself for her kids and her man in the same way that a man sacrifices himself for a woman. A real woman will love you for who you are, and she will love what you together have created and built more than she loves herself. If she doesn't, it just means she never loved you to begin with. It's a hard pill to swallow. That's all it is. If your girlfriend has left you and you're sitting there wondering, what did I do wrong? I loved her unconditionally. She never loved you. You were just her next ladder. Now she's moving on to something else. She just loves what you provide for her. And by extension, she loves herself. So don't get it wrong, guys. A woman can have very strong feelings about you. She can be very emotional. She can be very passionate. That doesn't mean that she loves you. She is passionate and emotional because she loves what she gains, or she is afraid of losing what she already has. It doesn't mean that she loves you. The only way to know if a woman loves you is if she stays with you until the end, if she is ready to fight against all odds to save you, if the vows mean something to her, if there is no word divorce in her dictionary. That is the only way to know that a woman loves you. And again, all women have this desire to switch men. This is why these romantic movies are so famous. This is why they gather so much money. This is why your girlfriend wants to watch a romantic movie instead of Star Wars on that Sunday night that you have together, and you close your eyes in frustration and say, all right, the things I do for love. This is why they like those movies, because that's their fantasy, to keep increasing, changing the bad boy. But again, you may be asking, oh, Hidan, isn't it a good thing that they feel a desire to change men for the better? No. They don't want to change these men for the better because they are some sort of Mother Teresa, because they are devout Christians who want to make good on the world. No. They want to change these men because it makes them feel validated, because of their own hedonistic self-pleasure that they get out of the challenge. It makes their love a valuable currency, because you see, my love was able to change this beast into a prince. My love made this homeless, reckless guy, Jack, give his life for me. Notice how powerful I am. It's a power dynamic. This is why Emilia, from the last movie we mentioned, made the multimillionaire feel happy. He was going to unalive himself, feeling all dark and desperate and pessimistic, but now he is happy and bubbly. I mean, not enough to not make him unalive himself, I guess, but enough to make him unalive himself with a smile on. That's it. It's a power dynamic. It's a fantasy about power. In the same way that men feel power in defeating the dragon, women feel power in changing the bad boy and taming the beast. That is what they like. But again, when they tame the beast, it's not like with men. Men want to defeat the dragon and that's it. They have already proven themselves. Now they have this trophy. Women, no. They want the next challenge. They want to climb the next ladder. All women have this desire, but they should control it. Because not every instinct that we have is a good instinct. Men have the instinct of getting pregnant every hot chick they know. Should we act out on that instinct? Will I be walking on the street impregnating every woman I find attractive? Well, I don't do that, at least not often, as far as I'm aware. But, we men control ourselves. And this is also a man that loves her wife. A man that loves her wife will not substitute her with the hot secretary just because she has a better ass. A man who loves her wife will value her as more than a piece of meat. He won't care that she may have started to have wrinkles. He won't care that maybe she has put on a couple of pounds. He won't care that she doesn't have the same body that she had when she was 18. because he loves her for so much more. He can control his instincts of being with the most attractive woman. And in the same way, women should control their instincts. If they find a good man, just stay with him. Love him for who he is. Don't dismiss him the moment you find something better. Apparently better. Don't dismiss him the moment he's not showing his A game. You know? So I leave you off with that, gentlemen. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know what your opinions are. Again, I think that every man and every woman can be evil. But when men are evil, it's easier to pick up on it. And it's easier to criticize, again, with the example I gave you of, if you put a man in the role of Rose or of Emilia Clarke, everybody will hate that movie. Everybody. It will be the biggest controversy of the decade. But when it's a woman, it's alright. Society is understanding and giving free passes to women to cheat on their boyfriends. So both men and women can be equally as evil. But I don't feel as though women are being criticized for this behavior. In fact, they like it. They agree with those movies. As my girlfriend told me, oh, but don't you see? He doesn't care about her because he forgot about this one detail. So it's alright to leave him. No. But gentlemen, thank you for watching. Leave me your thoughts down below. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this content and if you want to reward me for my efforts. And I'll see you next time, guys. Have a good one.